chaos, that's the only word for what went down in Jacksonville. Helmets crashed to the floor, voices rose. And the man everyone thought would never snap, Trevor Lawrence, finally did. The clean-cut golden boy gone, replaced by a furious quarterback, slamming his playbook so hard the room went silent. His target? The rookie superstar who refuses to play by the rules, Travis Hunter. Fans are stunned, coaches are panicking, teammates frozen in disbelief. For weeks, whispers have swirled Hunter's flashy entrances, his viral dances, his messy personal life spilling onto the field. Veterans rolled their eyes. Coaches bit their tongues. But tonight, it boiled over. Enough is enough, Trevor barked. Phones came out. Cameras rolled. What was supposed to be a private confrontation was about to leak everywhere. This wasn't just a disagreement. This was war inside the Jaguars' locker room, a war of pride, a war of loyalty. A war that could shatter a season before it even begins. And the fallout? Oh, it's only just getting started. The tension in Jacksonville had been simmering for weeks, but when it finally erupted, it wasn't in some private meeting or closed-door huddle. No, it exploded in the middle of the locker room, in front of veterans, rookies, and a handful of staff who would later admit they had never seen Trevor Lawrence like this before. Trevor Lawrence, usually calm, measured, and endlessly diplomatic, had lost control. He slammed his helmet down, pointed straight across the room, and went off on the rookie everyone thought would change the franchise, Travis Hunter. The words sliced through the humid air like a blade. It wasn't about X's and O's anymore. It was about culture, respect, and whether one man's ego was worth tearing apart an entire team. The energy in the room shifted instantly. Some players froze, wide-eyed, as if they'd just witnessed a car crash. Others leaned back in their chairs, arms folded, secretly satisfied that the quarterback had finally voiced what so many had been whispering. This wasn't just a team dispute. It was a generational clash. Old school vets who valued discipline, sacrifice, and unity on one side, and a new school rookie superstar on the other, chasing viral highlights, personal brand deals, and the kind of spotlight that doesn't leave space for locker room humility. The Jaguars had been teetering on this fault line for months, but Trevor's outburst cracked it wide open. Across the locker room, Travis Hunter leaned back in his chair, smirk tugging at his lips. He wasn't about to shrink in front of teammates. His body language screamed defiance. And that was exactly the problem. Hunter wasn't just a rookie. He was a two-way sensation who had stormed into the NFL determined to prove he could dominate both offense and defense. Fans loved it. Social media worshipped it. But inside the Jaguars facility, patience was wearing thin. Every minute Hunter spent chasing headlines was a minute teammates felt he wasn't locked in on football. Veteran players exchanged knowing looks. One mouthed, "Told you so," another just shook his head. This wasn't about talent. Everyone knew Hunter had that in spades. This was about commitment, and Trevor had just dragged the
spreading himself too thin. And it's not just Lawrence. Across the league, vets are side-eyeing Hunter's obsession with playing both sides of the ball, calling it a rookie's naive view of how brutal the NFL really is. What's really driving established players up the wall?
Dragged the issue into the open, and yet this was only the beginning, because if Hunter's on-field antics had been irritating, his off-field life had been a full-blown circus. The whispers had grown too loud to ignore. Late-night parties, messy arguments with his wife Liana splashed across Instagram stories, and the looming shadow of a wedding that players swore should never have happened before a rookie season. The marriage scandal was gasoline on a fire that was already threatening to burn out of control. Hunter hadn't signed a prenuptial agreement, a fact that became locker room gossip as quickly as his highlight reel catches did. Veterans, hardened by years of league politics and financial caution, mocked it openly. To them, it wasn't romance, it was recklessness. Behind closed doors, the conversation wasn't about football at all. It was about whether Hunter's personal drama was destroying the Jaguars' shot at a championship. Trevor's breaking point came after yet another practice derailed by distractions. Hunter had shown up late, laughing, his phone buzzing nonstop with notifications instead of slipping quietly into drills. He had joked with teammates, reenacted a viral TikTok dance, and turned what should have been a serious session into a spectacle. That was when Trevor had had enough. focus, discipline, brotherhood, those had been the quarterback's unspoken commandments since the day he was drafted. Watching Hunter clown his way through drills was the final straw. And when Trevor barked across the field, the cameras might as well have been rolling. Because every player there knew the moment would leak. The outburst was raw, it was brutal, and it confirmed what insiders had been hinting at for weeks. The Jaguars' locker room was fractured, but here's where it gets messy. The chaos wasn't just about Hunter's antics. It was about how they were bleeding into Trevor's own image. For the first time, the Golden Boy quarterback was caught in the mud, forced to pick sides, forced to abandon diplomacy, forced to call out his own teammate. Fans were stunned, reporters scrambled. And the narrative flipped overnight. Suddenly, this wasn't about whether Travis Hunter could succeed in the NFL, it was about whether Trevor Lawrence could hold his team together. In the middle of a storm. And storms, as fans would soon see, were only just beginning, because the very next week, a bombshell dropped. Liana, Hunter's wife, went live on TikTok, tears streaming down her face. It was the kind of emotional breakdown usually reserved for reality TV shows, but this was playing out in real time, with millions of viewers watching. Fans clipped it, spread it, and dissected it like forensic evidence. Was she guilty? Was she confessing? Or was this a setup for an even uglier divorce? No one knew.
And now, the personal drama is eating everything alive. As Hunter's scandals keep blowing up, Lawrence is caught in the middle, trying to back up a gifted rookie while also protecting the team culture that vets swear is the foundation of winning. This whole
new. But one thing was certain: the Jaguars had just been dragged into the kind of soap opera that no NFL franchise ever wants. Overnight, hashtags like #HunterDrama and #JagsMess trended across Twitter. Reddit threads speculated on locker room fights. Instagram comments roasted the team for losing focus before the season even began. And through it all, Trevor Lawrence's name kept popping up, not as the quarterback chasing a Super Bowl, but as the leader forced to babysit a rookie star drowning in chaos. Inside the facility, the fallout was immediate. Meetings ran longer. Coaches pulled players aside for culture talks. Veterans whispered that Hunter's distractions were poisoning everything they had built. And Trevor, he grew colder, sharper. His compliments toward Hunter turned into barbed comments wrapped in polite packaging. The message was clear: Hunter needed to choose football or fame, but if anyone thought that confrontation would slow Hunter down, they didn't know him at all. Instead, he doubled down. His Instagram lit up with flashy posts. He filmed ads in Jaguars gear without clearing it through PR. And then came the handshake drama. What was supposed to be a fun bonding gesture between quarterback and rookie turned into a PR disaster. The handshake, flashy and choreographed, went viral for all the wrong reasons. Fans slammed it as childish. Critics called it proof the Jaguars weren't serious. Even veterans rolled their eyes, muttering that the team had become a circus act. Trevor admitted in an interview that Hunter had taken the lead on the handshake. It sounded harmless, but to insiders, it was a red flag. The rookie wasn't following the quarterback's lead, he was steering the ship, and the veterans hated it. The cultural divide inside the locker room was now undeniable. Old school players demanded sacrifice and silence. New school stars like Hunter chased cameras and clout. Trevor, stuck in the middle, was being forced to pick a side every single day. But the breaking point, the one that turned whispers into headlines, came in June. During organized team activities, cameras caught Travis Hunter dancing in the middle of drills, laughing while teammates ran sprints. Coaches yelled, whistles blew. And then, in a moment that still plays on loop in fan edits, undrafted rookie Kim Camper snapped. He shoved Hunter back toward the huddle, physically forcing him to focus. It was humiliating, not just for Hunter, but for the entire team. A rookie correcting another rookie in public, that's not how NFL hierarchies work. Normally, veterans handle those moments quietly. But Hunter's antics had pushed patience to the breaking point. Fans lit up the internet with the clip. Some laughed, others called Hunter a clown. But the most brutal reactions came from analysts who warned that opponents would see the immaturity and target him relentlessly. Trevor Lawrence, once again, was caught in the middle. Every time he praised Hunter's conditioning or effort, the Words felt hollow like coded messages hiding his true frustration. And fans noticed the quarterback who was supposed to lead that championship run was now leading damage control. And that's not what any franchise wants from its star. The Jaguars weren't just battling opponents. They were battling themselves, and the question no one wanted to say out loud began to echo louder and louder. Was Travis Hunter destroying the locker room from the inside out? The fallout from that viral practice clip was immediate. By the next morning, national sports talk shows weren't breaking down Jaguars' playbooks, they were dissecting Travis Hunter's dance moves. Clips of him goofing off while teammates sprinted scrolled across every network with bold captions, like "Locker Room Clown Show," splashed across the bottom of the screen for a team trying to prove it was a serious contender. This was devastating. And inside the building, the tension snapped tighter than ever. Interview 326 to 341. Trevor Lawrence walked into that day's team meeting with a face like stone. Normally upbeat, normally encouraging, he didn't crack a single smile. When it was his turn to speak, the quarterback didn't sugarcoat. Insiders say his voice was flat, cold, almost surgical as he told the room that discipline was dead if they kept letting Hunter act like the NFL was a stage instead of a battlefield. Some nodded. Some glared at the floor, but all eyes eventually drifted toward Travis, lounging back with that trademark smirk. The message was clear, he wasn't intimidated. That smirk became the symbol of everything ripping the Jaguars apart. To Hunter, it was confidence. To Trevor and the vets, it was arrogance, a refusal to respect the grind that held teams together. And then came the whispers that Hunter's marriage drama wasn't just a sideshow, it was bleeding directly into the locker room. Word spread that Liana, his wife, had been spotted at a private party with another Jaguars player. No photos, no confirmations, but in the NFL, whispers are often as powerful as headlines. The effect was catastrophic. Teammates began looking at each other differently. Who was it? Was the rumor true? Trust cracked like glass. For a team that preached brotherhood, the idea that one rookie's personal life could be poisoning that bond was intolerable. Fans didn't help. On social media, they tore Hunter apart. Reddit threads labeled him a walking distraction. X posts mocked Trevor for being forced to babysit. Facebook groups called for Hunter to be traded before he wrecked the entire season, and Trevor? He kept trying. He praised Hunter's work ethic in interviews. He called him explosive and versatile, but fans weren't fooled. The compliments felt forced, dripping with tension. The subtext was obvious. Trevor Lawrence was frustrated, but trapped between protecting his team's image and acknowledging the circus everyone could see with their own eyes. Behind closed doors, though, things got uglier. At one point, multiple insiders reported that Trevor refused to run certain offensive sets during practice because Hunter wasn't locked in. Instead, he audibled, deliberately targeting Hunter in drills, exposing his weaknesses in front of the team. Friendly competition? That's what Trevor called it when pressed, but veterans knew better. It was a calculated message: pick a side, commit, or get exposed. The cultural divide deepened. Younger players, dazzled by Hunter's social media clout, defended him. They said the NFL needed personalities, stars who broke the mold. Veterans, meanwhile, rolled their eyes and muttered about how fame without discipline was a virus. And right in the middle, Trevor Lawrence, the man who had to hold it all together, while privately seething that his team's most important season in years was spiraling into a reality show. Then came the Adidas shoot. Supposed to be a harmless promo, just a fun handshake between quarterback and rookie, but once again, Hunter hijacked it. He choreographed the move, turned it into something flashy, and dragged Trevor along. When the clip hit social media, fans didn't see team chemistry, they saw gimmicks. Why are they dancing instead of winning? One post read, "This is why the Jags can't get it done." For Trevor, it was humiliating. For Hunter, it was just another day in the spotlight. And for the locker room, it was proof that the rookie's priorities weren't aligned with the team's. But if people thought it couldn't get worse, they were wrong, because then came July, and Liana's tearful TikTok live stream detonated like a bomb. Sobbing, cryptic, and vague. It didn't name names, but it didn't have to. Fans immediately assumed the worst. Was she confessing to cheating? Was she setting the stage for divorce? Was she trying to win sympathy before more damning news? Broke, whatever her intentions, the result was chaos. And FL Reddit lit up. TikTok edits hit millions of views. Hashtags trended. And once again, the Jaguars were dragged through the mud. In one cruel twist, fans even spliced clips of Trevor's frustrated comments next to Leona's tears, painting him as the exhausted leader cleaning up after someone else's disaster. Veterans were furious. To them, it wasn't about love or gossip. It was about distraction. How could they chase a championship when one rookie's marriage was sucking all the oxygen out of the room? And then came the cruelest blow of all, the pregnancy rumor. Multiple gossip outlets claimed Leona was expecting, and not with Travis's child, but with another Jaguars teammate. No proof, no evidence, but enough to poison trust beyond repair. Inside the building, suspicion ran wild. Players eyed each other sideways, wondering who the unnamed teammate might be. For Trevor, this was the nightmare scenario. This scandal wasn't just about Travis anymore. It was pulling the entire locker room into a toxic spiral. Distrust, accusations, side conversations that had nothing to do with football. The Jaguars had become less of a team and more of a soap opera. And in the middle of it, Trevor Lawrence had a choice: stay silent or go nuclear. He chose nuclear. Interview 6:30 for 2648. That's when he went off again, this time not in the privacy of practice, but in front of reporters. His voice was calm, but the words carried venom. It's almost like, do you want to catch touchdowns, or do you want to maybe break up a pass or two? That's the decision you gotta make. Fans gasped, analysts pounced. Trevor Lawrence, the golden boy of Jacksonville, had just publicly questioned his own teammates' focus. It was unheard of. Quarterbacks don't air dirty laundry, they protect the team at all costs. But Trevor had snapped, and by snapping, he confirmed what? Everyone feared. The Jaguars weren't just divided, they were crumbling. The moment Trevor's comments hit the press, the Jaguars' facility turned into ground zero for chaos. Reporters swarmed the parking lot. Fans camped outside the gates holding up signs, some supporting Trevor, others calling Hunter the future of the franchise. Social media was split down the middle. Hashtag Team Trevor versus hashtag Team Travis. The quarterback hadn't just exposed his teammate. He'd split the fan base, fractured the locker room, and forced the entire league to pay attention. Inside the building, things only grew uglier. Meetings devolved into side arguments. Veterans pulled Trevor aside, urging him to stand his ground. Younger players whispered to Hunter, feeding his ego. The weight room became a battleground upstairs and muttered insults, and then came the breaking point, a players-only meeting that insiders later described as the ugliest night in Jaguars history. The lights were dim, the atmosphere thick with resentment. Trevor sat at one end of the room, Hunter at the other. Voices rose, accusations flew, and for the first time, players openly questioned whether they could even trust each other on Sundays. The brotherhood wasn't just cracking, it was shattering. At one point, a veteran lineman slammed his fist on the table, shouting that Hunter was turning this team into TMZ. Another rookie fired back, claiming Trevor was jealous of Hunter's spotlight. Chairs scraped, players stood, and for a moment, it looked like fists would fly. Trevor finally stood. His voice, calm but furious, cut through the noise. We're supposed to be chasing a championship. Instead, we're chasing drama. And I'm done with it. The room went silent. But the damage was done. That night confirmed what fans had feared. The Jaguars weren't a team anymore, they were to camps at war. And while Trevor was fighting to salvage discipline, Hunter was doubling down on chaos. Days later, Hunter arrived to practice in a customized sports car, blasting music so loud it rattled the glass. Cameras caught it, fans reposted it, and once again, the headlines weren't about football, they were about spectacle. The veterans rolled their eyes. Coaches groaned. Trevor, he didn't even look at Hunter as he walked by. The silent treatment spoke louder than any words for a quarterback who prided himself on unity. Ignoring his own teammate was the clearest sign yet that patience had run out, but the story didn't end there. It spiraled. Another leak hit the tabloids. Alleged DMS between Liana and an unnamed Jaguars player. Screenshots, blurred and grainy, spread across Reddit like wildfire. True or not, the narrative had taken shape. Hunter's personal life wasn't just messy, it was poisoning the locker room. For Trevor, this was confirmation of everything he'd been warning about, and in his next media appearance, though he never named names, he spoke about players needing to decide whether they want to be here for football or for attention. The message was clear, fans erupted, analysts called it the boldest move of Trevor's career, but Hunter wasn't backing down. Instead, he fired back with cryptic Instagram posts, captions like "they hate to see me shine" and "jealousies." A disease, each post pulled the fanbase deeper into the drama, each comment thread a battlefield of insults and defenses. Even family members were dragged in. Liana's relatives posted defenses of her on Facebook, accusing Trevor of humiliating their family publicly. Hunter's cousins clapped back at fans, calling Trevor fake leadership. Suddenly, it wasn't just teammates at war, it was families, fans, and friends all entangled in the spectacle. By training camp's second week, coaches were panicking. Insiders whispered that management had considered suspending Hunter to calm the storm. Others claimed Trevor threatened to walk out of practice unless leadership addressed the issue. The Jaguars weren't preparing for a season anymore. They were managing a crisis, and then came the moment that sealed it. At a scrimmage open to the public, Trevor deliberately threw 3 consecutive passes in Hunter's direction. Each time, Hunter missed. One slipped through his hands, one he misread, one he simply didn't hustle for. The crowd gasped, teammates exchanged looks. And Trevor, he didn't say a word. He simply jogged back, jaw clenched, letting the silence hang like a guillotine. Fans clipped it, slowed it down, and spread it across TikTok. The caption, "Trevor exposing Hunter in real time." It wasn't subtle anymore. Trevor Lawrence, the face of the franchise, was putting his rookie on blast in front of thousands. By the next morning, national headlines screamed, "Lawrence versus Hunter, Jaguars locker room implodes." Analysts debated whether the team could even recover. Former players weighed in, some defending Trevor, others calling him reckless for going public. The divide grew deeper, louder, and harder to ignore. What started as whispers of frustration had become an all-out civil war. Hunter, for his part, didn't retreat. He doubled down yet again. That night, he posted a video of himself working out shirtless, blasting the caption, "They can't stop me." Fans cheered, veterans cringed. Trevor stayed silent, but insiders say he walked into the next team meeting and dropped one sentence that chilled the room. The words, "If this keeps up, we won't just lose games, we'll lose each other." And in that moment, everyone realized what was truly at stake. This wasn't just about one player's immaturity. It was about the soul of the team, the Jacksonville Jaguars dreamed of unity, they dreamed of discipline. They dreamed of a locker room marching together toward a championship. Instead, what they got was a soap opera that refuses to end. Trevor Lawrence went from golden boy quarterback to reluctant enforcer, calling out his own teammate and exposing cracks the franchise hoped to hide. Travis Hunter went from once-in-a-generation rookie to headline-fueling chaos machine, dragging teammates, family, and fans into the fire. The brotherhood is broken, the locker room is fractured, and every practice feels less like preparation for Sunday and more like another episode of a reality show fans can't look away from. But here's the haunting truth, this story isn't finished. Will Hunter finally choose discipline over drama? Or will his ego consume everything in its path? Will Trevor's public defiance inspire the team to rally? Or will it backfire, leaving him isolated as the leader who lost control? Fans are left divided, families are torn, and the Jaguars stand at a crossroads with their season and reputation hanging in the balance. Around the league, whispers are already spreading. If Jacksonville can't contain this storm, maybe it's time for drastic moves. Trade rumors swirl. Suspension whispers grow louder, and every day the drama lingers, the chances of a championship slip further away. One rookie's chaos has turned an NFL locker room into a ticking time bomb. And Trevor Lawrence has made it clear, he won't stay silent anymore. So now, it's your turn. Do you think Hunter is worth all this drama? Or is Trevor right to go off before it's too late? Drop your take in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for more stories straight from the heart of the chaos, and hit the bell so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding storm. Because if this season has shown us anything, it's that the drama in Jacksonville is far from over.